Welcome back to What If Naruto Had His Parents' Knowledge and Experience Part 11. Disclaimer: I don't own Naruto nor this fanfic. Warning: get ready for heavy sexual contents. Good. Then let's start with D rank missions. Minnie gave him a puzzled look. What was wrong with the D ranks? They were fundamental to teach discipline, patience and teamwork. They were the basis for all the teams to get closer and to be able to trust each other. I know what you are all thinking. I also think that these missions are important for the Junin to mature. Though I want them earlier, I want the academy students to do them once every 4 days, Naruto said. If they do the D rank missions, what will the Junin do? The management department asked. I will get to that in a minute. I want the academy students to change teams every month to find out who they work best with. Minnie nodded as this made sense. The old teams were just formed without confirming their teamwork. I want Junin in the police force for now. They will patrol in 3-man teams with an addition of 1 Chunin. Our police station needs more manpower, not because the criminals are dangerous, but because there are too many. With this we will get more shinobi on patrols and give Junin experience before they go to their first C rank missions. After 3 months of patrolling and training, they will be able to apply for their first C rank. To lower the death rate even more, we will send a second Jonin with the Junin team to ensure their safety during their first 5 missions, Naruto said. As a hand shot up, he nodded to the person raising their hand, allowing them to speak. I just want to point out that your change in the academy system will need quite the budget. Hiring enough instructors and teachers to teach and go with the students on D ranks, a second Jonin for the first 5 missions, and also not letting the Junin go on C rank missions immediately. These are all very expensive changes, especially the second Jonin. Their salary is nothing to scoff at. We will need maybe about 6 times of our actual budget to implement your idea, Kane said. He sure was the advisor for financial matters. I'm well aware of that. I plan to reduce the barrier and the patrol teams on the wall, Naruto said, and wasn't even surprised as most of them had an objection against it. I know that the chance of an attack at the time is really low, but we shouldn't let our guard down because of that, the Yamanaka clan head said. And I don't plan on doing that. The changes will only start after I have completed a new barrier seal. I will explain it when I have finished it. So until then I want both the academy and police force to work out a plan together, he said as Ruka nodded. Good. Then the next and last thing, Tsunade will be teaching basic and advanced medical classes at the academy and the hospital. Our village has only 200 medics and only 15 medic ninja. We must raise this number to ensure Konoha's survival rate, should an attack happen again, Naruto said as everybody agreed. They had witnessed firsthand that they lacked manpower in this field. Good, that's it for today. I will not attend these meetings for a while and hope that you can work well with each other, Naruto said as she left the room. This brat, Tsunade said as she sighed. This was a completely new experience for her. It was dangerous to even be in the same room with that lunatic. Watch what you are saying. He is our Hokage. Turning around, she saw Ibiki as he also left. At least that boy seems to be respected. When will the Tsunade envoy arrive? Naruto asked as they walked back to his office. In about 4 days, Shikamaru answered as he gave Shino a few papers. The boy didn't understand the politics as well as those two, but he was a good errand boy. He was naturally quiet, one of the most important qualities for them. Set up a good room for them. Shikamaru nodded as he took some notes. I want my father's guard platoon in my office in an hour, Naruto said as he sat down in his chair and took out his sealing materials. This would take some time. Shino and Shikamaru didn't say anything as they did what they were told. He had to finish this barrier seal as soon as possible. It will give them the opportunity to have their wall guards. That will give them an enormous amount of human resources. With that, it shouldn't be a problem to finish the changes to the academy. He drew a thick line that would transport the chakra through the seal. It would gather natural chakra all the time. This would make it self-sustaining. Come in, Naruto said 5 seconds after the knock. Coming in were his father's personal guards. You have called for us, Hokage-sama? Jinmo was the one that spoke. The 3 were looking into his eyes. Yes, I have a mission for you, Naruto said as the 3 finally looked at him. I want you to train Shikamaru. Since you 3 know the hierarchy, it should be even harder for him to fight against you. Naruto didn't want Shikamaru to think that he is strong enough. He had to learn that he was predictable. and that his enemy's teamwork could put him out cold. Is there a problem with this? Naruto asked as nobody of them took the mission scroll. No, Hokage-sama, Jinma said, but they still didn't make a move to take the scroll. Naruto decided to wait for them as he leaned back into his chair. You look a lot like him, Iwashi Tatami said. He was the only Chunin in this group, but he must have had skills to be chosen as the Hokage's platoon guard. Naruto hummed as he got Hiruzen's sake out of the drawer. He unsealed 4 cups as he put them down on the table. Take a seat. I have time today, Naruto instructed as he poured them the alcohol. They looked shocked at first, before Raito Namayashi got himself a chair. So, what is it that is bothering you? Naruto asked as he downed his first cup in one go and poured himself a second. The 3 sipped at their cups but stayed silent. He sighed as he downed his second cup and poured another one. I will keep drinking until one of you spills the beans, Naruto said as he drank his third cup. No need to tell them that a certain fluffy in him made alcohol useless. Doesn't mean that his throat didn't burn like hell. Where in the world had the old geezer gotten himself something this strong? I think you should stop, Jinma said as Naruto brought his 4th cup to his mouth. Well then speak, Naruto said as he put it down. Naruto waited again, but he had to say that he wasn't a patient person in these kinds of situations. Seals and jutsus no problem, but humans. We would like to apologize, Jinma finally said as they bowed. Naruto looked at them a bit puzzled. Naruto asked as his gaze turned cold. They didn't betray the village, did they? We are sorry that we didn't protect you when you were young. As your father's guards, it would have been our duty. Naruto sighed out in relief as he relaxed back into his seat. Oh, if it is only that. And here I thought it was something serious, Naruto said as he poured himself another cup. Even though he couldn't get drunk, after getting used to the burn it felt nice to drink. So you're not holding a grudge against us? Raito asked. What a brave man, to ask him something like this straight to his face. Jiraiya is my godfather and hasn't spoken with me more than 5 times in my life. It would be laughable to be mad at you. Well, that made sense to them, even though it was very sad to hear. If that is all, I want you to train Shikamaru as much as you can. This boy will be the village's future. I don't want him to die because of this village's negligence and his inexperience, Naruto said as he threw the scroll at them. Even though he said that he had time earlier, it could still be put to better use. Of course, Hokage-sama, the 3 said before they vanished. Naruto used the 4 days until the Tsunagakure ninja came to work on his seal. Meanwhile, Shikamaru was training the entire day while cursing him every night. Shino assisted him in Shikamaru's daily routine by giving out the missions and the paperwork that came with managing a village. It was one of those times in which you could see why Shikamaru was a genius. He had managed all these things in half the time Naruto and Shino needed. He could have called Shikaku, but to his shame he had to admit that he was too prideful to do that. Hokage-sama, the envoy has arrived. The Anbu guard informed him. Inform the original council that there will be a meeting with Suna this evening. The guard nodded as he vanished. Come to think of it, he should check in on the new teachers at the academy. He had only added Tsunade, Lee and Tenten for now. This should however already be giving the kids new come in. Well, let's see who interrupted his thought process so rudely. Hokage-sama, it's Araki and Miami. What brings the 2 of you here? Naruto asked. We discussed your ideas for this village, and I found faults in this plan, Noriki said. Then show me, Naruto said as he leaned forward. The other 2 rounded the table as they got a map out that shows the plan wall. You wanted to make fields for farmers directly behind the new wall, but the height of the wall will cast a shadow over it, so it will not work well. The man informed him. That seems true. I hadn't considered that. How many meters will the shadow cover? Naruto asked. If the sun is low, then around 200 meters. I think it would be better if we reduce the height from the planned 40 to 35 meters. That way the shadow will only cover around 120 meters. The man explained. The wall's height can't be changed. The Baijius are around 80 meters in height. Any lower and the wall would lose its function. Furthermore, it gives us a higher position to spot enemies quicker. Naruto explained as the 2 nodded with him. Let us rethink the idea. How about we use the 200-meter area to create living room for Shinobi? That way they will be near the wall should an attack happen, and it will make room inside this almost overfilled village, Naruto suggested. It is possible, But do you think that someone wants to live this far from the center? It's at least 3 kilometers until you reach the original wall, and from there it is about 5 to reach the Hokage Tower, Miami questioned. Actually, I plan on moving the tower to a different location. Now both were surprised. And where would that be? Oriki asked. The stadium. It's perfectly in the middle if you consider the new wall. I want to build a tower with at least 15 floors there, but it will have to be wider than the stadium is right now. Now both of them gaped at him. This was a massive project. Konoha's highest building has 9 floors. And that combined with how wide he wants it to become, what in the world was he going to put in there? That is my idea, but I want to know if it is even possible. He asked, and Miami had to think about it thoroughly. But since the foundation would be so wide, the possibility of the tower crushing because of weather was extremely low. It is possible, but it will cost a lot. I'm not sure whether this village will be able to afford it, she answered. You don't have to worry about that. I have my own financial resources for that. How long will it take, if I spend enough to hire at least 10 construction companies? Naruto asked. 10 is a lot. I think about 4 months with this much manpower. But what concerns me more is that you want to use your personal money for an official matter, she said. Naruto smiled. Don't worry about it, Kane-san had the same worries. This building will be for the most important departments of the new council. Each department will have their own floor. They will tax their income by 1% until everything is paid off. That's not much, but with so many departments in the building it shouldn't take too long to pay it off. Maybe 4 to 5 years. If it is possible, then please visit Tasha-san right away and plan it in detail. The two nodded before they dismissed themselves. If it is possible, then please visit Tasha-san right away and plan it in detail. The two nodded before they dismissed themselves. They had a meeting with the Sena delegation now. He would have to keep his council members in check with the decisions he had made and will make. Coming into the conference hall, Naruto was surprised that Gaara really did come. He would have thought that they would make excuses to not let their Jinshu Uriki near him. He could seal their Bajuu away and with that their last hope to defend themselves from other nations. It was strange to see the room so empty. Only the original council members were there. This was too critical of a topic to have the other children around. He silently took his seat as the rest followed. Baki and the other Jonin from Sena took their seats slowly as their bodies were still tense. It must have surprised them that such a young boy was the Hokage. They must have foreseen it. But to actually see such a young boy sit at the most important seat of the village. The 3 Jonin from Sena silently took their seats at the back. I hope that you had a pleasant travel, Shikamaru asked, starting the conversation. It was okay, Baki simply answered as he stared at Naruto. Though that was not a good idea as their eyes met. A chill came over him as these ice-cold eyes looked deep into his soul. Was it a genjutsu? He couldn't take his eyes off the young Hokage. What was it that held him in place like this? The moment Naruto blinked, the pressure disappeared and the Jonin could breathe again. Let's talk about the costs and the terrain management, Naruto said as he skipped through a few letters Shikamaru gave him. Konoha took unimaginably high damage during your invasion. Almost every building had cracks, some even collapsed. Our supply routes and infrastructure has collapsed, which cost us a lot of time to re-establish. The Seinen could already guess what would come. They had fucked up hard. But who would have thought that someone was able to block against Obiji Udama? They knew that the young man in front of them was powerful. They had put him in the same class as his father, the 4th Hokage. But that was definitely wrong. His son was much stronger at an age where most people were just goofing around. As the new Hokage, I want a good relationship with our neighbor village. We will not demand any payment for this, since it was me and Shikamaru who repaired all the damage. The young Hokage said as the old council members gasped, but Naruto gave them a look that dared them to speak up right now. For the Senins this was a huge relief because it would have cost them so much that their village would have been ruined. It was a great relief to know that this Hokage knew that as well, because they know that he didn't do that out of goodwill. No, he was well informed and had found good reasons to keep their village going. But what could it be? Because letting them collapse would have been a good decision for them. They could have expanded their territory. With that, they would have gotten more missions. which would increase their village's income. That wasn't even counting the land they would get. Tsuno still needs pay compensation for the attack as a whole and compensation to the families that lost someone in this attack. The Sennin nodded. They could live with that. Well, this would be all regarding the costs, Naruto said as Danzo almost exploded in his seat, with both elders choking on air for the missed chance to profit from this situation. The clan heads looked unpleased as well, but they kept their displeasure to themselves for now. Take your time going over the numbers and say if something is unreasonable, Naruto said as Shikamaru handed them the exact cost of the compensation they would have to pay. It was a ridiculously high amount and it would bring their village to a point of exhaustion if they would have to pay it up front. But to their luck, the paper said that they have 8 years to pay for it. It should be within their capability to pay for it with this longer time frame. Is there anything that catches your eye right away? If not, then let's move on to the next point, Naruto asked. It's a well thought out plan and I think our village will be able to pay it within the time, Baki said. Good. Then let's talk about territory management. Sunagakure doesn't have their own farmland. I spoke with the Fire Lord and we decided that you can use the entire west side of the border for farming. The entire room went silent as they heard the young Hokage. Did he just offer the enemy that invaded them some of their land? Are you out of your mind, Hokage-sama? They have invaded us and not only aren't you letting them pay enough, but now you are also giving them our land? Danzo yelled as the table under his hand crashed. The elders nodded along with civilian council members following. The Senins were shocked and scared. Shocked because someone spoke like that with their own cage and scared because if a fight would break loose, they would literally be in the middle. A chill went over every person in the as Naruto released a heavy pressuring chakra that locked them all in place unless they would put up a real fight. Did I just hear dog bark to get its owner's attention? Because I sure as hell didn't allow someone to butt in. So, was there a dog or did I just mishear it? Naruto asked. Many were gaping at the young boy as he had just called Danzo out as a barking dog. That man was literally just a few steps away from being a cage himself. Yet Naruto didn't seem to care, as he put him down in such a humiliating way, even when guests from other countries were here. Thought so. Let's get to the conditions the Fire Lord and I had agreed on to let you use the land, Naruto said as nobody made a sound. In exchange for using our land you have to pay 40% of your harvest as tax. This can be with the vegetables you produce or with an equal amount of money. Before you ask, this point is not negotiable, since the Fire Lord and I decided on this number, Naruto said. Baki wasn't sure what to think about the land Konoha had offered. It was a way for them to produce their own food for the first time in their nation's history. But 40% was the biggest trip-off he had seen. They still needed time to pay the compensation. And there was the land of rivers. Should they start to regularly transport their harvest through their land, they would have to pay for it. That meant that they would have only about 50% of the work they would put into farming. On the other hand, they had once in a lifetime chance to get their hands on farmable land. No other nation would be willing to lend them land. No, they would have to fight for it, but with their current strength, it was impossible for at least 20 years. No, it was a dream that was far out of their reach at the moment. Right now they even had to be careful that other hidden villages don't use this moment of weakness to attack them. We will have to further discuss this with our elders before we can give you an answer regarding this, Baki said as Naruto nodded. Of course, but I would like to have this settled within a month, Naruto said as Shikamaru handed the delegation a stack of papers with the exact numbers and terrain details they would get. Now to the last offer. Even though Orochimaru was missing then, he was still from Konoha. Therefore I will offer 2 years of protection, not as Konohagakure as a village, but as an individual myself. It will end sooner should you find a cage before, but it will last for a maximum of 2 years. This is my personal decision, Konoha will not be involved with it. It goes without saying of course, but should my own village need my help or should you start an unnecessary fight, then I will stay in my village, Naruto said as the room had completely quietened down. It was protection of the highest level. The strongest ninja living had promised another hidden village his protection. This has never happened in the history of all hidden villages. We are very grateful for your offer and will hurry to find a new cage. Sunagakure will not forget your kindness in our greatest time of need. Naruto just nodded. His eyes shifted to the small boy in the back. Gaara was watching him with cold eyes that were filled with hatred and murder. But he also saw loneliness and exhaustion. That would be all for today. You can go through all the documents and we will meet tomorrow to discuss this in further detail. You can all go now. I would like to talk with Gaara alone.